country roads, back on the highway, soon to be on some of the side roads going into suburbia, since I don't feel like paying an expensive toll. But we're on our way to Lost Rhino.
Hey, that's smart. That's more money to buy beer.
Exactly. Lost Rhino and the Holy Brewery, Liquid Confession. We're entering Leesburg, and we just enjoyed Corcoran Winery and Brewery, but we didn't stay by the winery side, got on the brew side. But yeah, looking forward to tasting some more beers and having some more fun.
Exactly, and we like beers and fun. That's why we do this. Well, I think, what do we like more, beer or fun?
Beer.
Exactly. All right, guys, see you in a few.
I always start the tour out. Does anybody know who Old Dominion Brewery is, or does not know? I think that's a better word. Everybody? Okay. That moves the story right along. Old Dominion Brewery, Jerry Bailey was getting old. He had a hip problem. Just had it. Got to sell the brewery. And luckily, Anheuser-Busch was building they just bought Red Hook Brewery from Oregon, and they were building a New Hampshire brewery. And they're looking for these barrel tanks. These right here are 50 barrel tanks, and they wanted, Jerry Bailey, or Old Dominion had 40, 100 barrel, and they had 100 barrel tanks. And these tanks, you just can't go to Home Depot and say, I want 10 or 20 of them. They're all handmade. So it's cheaper for them to buy a brewery. It was just perfect timing. They took all those barrels, they brought them up to New Hampshire, and then at the time, Fabio Garcia was the main brewer. They told him, he was the main brewer here, told him just to liquidate everything. And that's what he did. But then Matt Hagerman, who was the other brewman, one of the other brewmasters there, came up to Fabio and said, hey, this is interesting. Hey, you want to start a brewery? And he goes, yeah, let's do it. And so this was a mile and a half away from the original brewery, and this was a storage facility. And they were just storing stuff here for about a year and a half, and then last April the brewery was finally put together and the first batch of beer was made. All right, so the question is, does anybody know what the original name of this brewery is? Someone's got to know. Oh, come on! It's that bad I gotta look at my fingers.
Enlighten us.
What, do you know?
I don't remember.
28 North Custom Beer Works. So there's a band in Pittsburgh called 28 North, and they called up and said, hey, we have the rights to the name, you can't use it. They go, yeah, you're in the entertainment business, we're in the food business, it doesn't matter. Well, when the letter came from the lawyer, it did matter. So they had to decide on a name. In the meantime, the graphic artist was throwing different names around, and the first beer was called Rhino Chaser from a defunct. Hello, you're welcome. Thanks. Just come on in. Just join us. And they had the Rhino Chaser. It was a beer from a defunct brewery in California. And does anybody know what a rhino is? Not the animal, but nobody knows. Okay.
Republican in name only?
No.
That's the other rhino.
Well, it's really an elephant, isn't it? But anyway, well, the Rhino Chaser is in California mythology. A rhino is a huge wave. A chaser is a surfer. So Matt loved the name of the brand of the brew. He bought that, and he said, well, why don't we use Rhino Chaser as the name of the brewery? And Abby goes, no, let's think about this. So they started thinking about it, and they finally came up with somebody gave Lost and something they loved to do, and that's where Lost Rhino came. So there you go, there's the history lesson. So what we're going to do, we're looking at, well actually, the brewery used to be 9,000 square feet, now it's about 12,000 square feet. We just bought, we just leased the space next door to us. And what, I don't know if you can see it right here, you can see the big hole. And what's going to happen is basically from us forward is going to be a banquet room with its own bar, and everything in the back is going to be storage. So basically what happened was stage one was to get the tasting room looking nice, which we did. We painted it. We got these nice little bars here. Stage two is get a kitchen in. We did. Stage three is to buy fermenters, because right now we're at peak capacity. In the last 3 months, we've run out of a brand of beer 3 times. So the demand for our beer is really high. So we had to do something. And yes, we didn't go and buy to order these kegs. We actually went to the Ogden Brewery in Ogden, Utah. Went out of business. We bought these. Now these are the fermenters we're going to use. We're going to put 6 of them over here so we could have more beer. We won't run out of capacity. The other thing that you can see right in this facility, right open here, we're going to can our major beer line, which will be Faceplant IPA, Bee River Pale Ale, and Rhino Chaser Pills. And everybody asks why cans? Well, most of the craft brewing industry, brown bottom glass comes from Mexico. By the time it gets up here, it's too expensive. It's cheaper to get cans from the Midwest and have it delivered here. And the other thing that's good about cans, they'll keep beer fresh for 5 months. Brown bottles 3, green glass 1 month, clear glass 1 day. Once it leaves the brewery, it's bad. What happens is the sunlight oxidizes basically the alpha acid in the hops inside the bottle, and that gives the skunky flavor to the beer. Okay, so we're going to can. What's interesting about the can is the flip part that you pull is on the can when it comes. And the can looks like this. So you pour the beer upside down, the lid's hanging on it, it goes over it, and it crimps on it. It's kind of interesting. So every time you look at a can, that a beer can or soda can is crimped on the bottom. I always thought it was soldered on. It's not. The other reason, besides the freshness of the cans now, the beer will never touch the can because they have water-based soluble coating on the lids and the sides. And so you'll never get the can flavor, and they're about 35% less costly for us to ship them out through our distributor. All right, so that's enough about our history. So we're going to go in here. The cooler's about 38 degrees. If it's too cold, feel free to go out, walk out. We're going to talk about hops. Next, we're going to talk about grain, and then we're going to talk about the brewing process. Usually, we have kegs from side to side here, and forward pull-up, and that line pull-up, and they usually go on underneath the delivery. But the demand for our beer is so great. Distributor calls us every day, excuse me, keg it. They pull off one of these doors, the kegs go out, they never come here. The kegs here are just for our tasting room. So what is a hop? We have all these boxes that are filled with hops. We come from the northwest, and we also get hops from Aloha County, from local farmers. So It's an ideal cereal grain. Like here. It's the germ is protected by the husk. It's got a high carbohydrate. Yeah, keep moving around like high carbohydrate protein ratio, and it's high in enzymes. So what does that matter to the beer? To the beer we brew? Well, I guess I just have to deal with it. Basically, what we'll do is barley looks like a tall piece of grass in your front yard that gets really fuzzy. They'll cut that, they'll put it in like one of these metal barrels here, fill it up with water, and hold it there for 2 days. What we want to happen is the embryo to start producing enzymes that will break down the endosperm inside of it, which has a coating of protein and carbohydrates. Inside that endosperm is something called starch. That starch is the food reserve. That's what we really want to get after for the brewing process. And when that starts eating it, it starts to crack open a little rootlet. Obviously a plant wants to start growing. Once we see the rootlet, we pull it out of there, put it on a clean floor right here, like this. And they'll blow humidified air over it for about 4 to 5 days. What they want to happen is, or what we want, is just to basically dry, but not dry too fully. Just enough so the rootlets don't stick together or clump together. And we want that starch to open up even more because we want it to get a little bit taller in rootlet. After about 4 to 5 days, they'll take it out, they'll put it on a clean floor, and they'll kiln it. Then they'll heat it about 180 to 200 degrees. And this is what we'll get. So I call it this basic malt. You guys, if you want to try it, feel free. I'll say this: the females love it because they say it's really sweet. The guys are like, it's really weird. But yeah, feel free. It's blah. It's just like cereal.
Cereal.
Grape nuts.
There you go.
So you're doing your own malting here?
No.
No.
So what we'll do is we'll take that base malt, heat it up for another 200 degrees for another 2 hours. You get caramel malt. Obviously, it's our crystal malt. It's going to take out the caramel flavor, gives a hint of hue of red to the beer, and it also will help in foam retention. Now this I could eat all day watching a game. This is delicious. We get our malt from Germany, England, Belgium, Czechoslovakia, Canada, America, and recently we got malt from Chile, which I didn't even know they made malt.
Really?
And we're just, who knows what we're going to use it for, but one day we'll use it. And then for another 2 hours, a little darker, this comes chocolate malt. Unless you really like coffee, you might want to try this, but I won't pass it around. It's a really burnt flavor. And then they go by a standard reference method, and that's how they give different grades. Like this would be 2 degrees, color, this could be anywhere between 20 and 40, and this is like 120, just to give you an example.
So the more bitter you get, as you get darker?
Well, I wouldn't use the word bitter, but more burnt.
More burnt?
Yeah, or toastiness might be a better word, yeah.
Like dark chocolate bitter.
Yeah, because when we start talking about bitter over here in the brewing process, we're talking about the hops more than that. So this is just malt. This is a sweetness, type of sweetness. All right, so we want to talk over here and talk about